Yeah, a very big win for Arsenal. But Mark Ogden, Oggy, Manchester United, after losing to Tottenham, they get a nice comeback win against Nottingham Forest. But now they thought that maybe, and maybe all of us thought, including Stevie and I, thought that maybe it was going to end as a 1-1 result. But in the end, Arsenal come away with a 3-1 victory. Just your overall reactions over Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United, because there's a lot going on off the field as well. But what did you see from them today against the Gunners?
Yeah, I don't think they were massively convincing. I think it was one of those away performances where United struggled to hold on at times, and I think it really changed when Hoyland came on. It just gave a lot of work rate up front, a bit of aggression, and it enabled the midfielders to kind of have a platform to play forward. And I think he did change the game. And when Garnacho burst through, it looked like United had snatched the win, and it was a very tight offside. But obviously VAR got it right, even though it's 5 millimetres. But I think the overall scoreline doesn't reflect on the way United played later in the second half. I think a draw would have been a fair result. But, like you say, it's a defeat at Tottenham, a defeat at Arsenal. And last year they had one win against the top 10, just the one win. I think they had 8 defeats. So, this away form is going to cost them. Well, they're not going to win the league this season, let's be honest. They're already 6 points behind City, but it could cost them a top 4 spot. So they really need to address that away form. But it did look like in the last 20 minutes they'd found a way. They'd found a way to, to get a result. But United aren't convincing right now. They look like a team that's still finding its feet, finding its way. But we've been saying that for 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, Stevie, let me just keep going from that point. Like, where do we put the blame here? Is the international break the perfect thing right now for Eric Ten Hag? Do you think that can help a little bit? Like, where do you see United going this season from what you've seen already?
Well, no, I don't think this international break helps them because Ten Hag has to find a way of getting his team together and getting some fluidity. I mean, going forward, you really don't know what you're going to, other than let's find Rashford wide on the left. You don't know where United are going to hurt you because there's nothing coming from Anthony's side. They're really not getting an awful lot through the middle of the park. So right now, since the season started and well into last season, it seems like Marcus Rashford is the only outlet that they're going to produce anything from. So this is a situation where Ten Hag has to sort it out on a training field and try and get some fluidity and some movement. Because other than that, they just look like a mid-table side that are going to go away to places like Arsenal and defend and try and get something on the break. Now, if it works, it works. But this is Manchester United, and and this is not what you expect from Manchester United. That's just the bottom line. I'm sure Augie will tell you more about that than me. But yeah, going forward, I have no idea what they're trying to do other than get the ball to Marcus Rashford, because there doesn't seem to be any other sort of pattern.
Yeah. Oggy, we're getting some questions in. Obviously, thank you so much for joining ESPN FC Live, Stevie Nicol, James Olley, Mark Ogden. But Oggy, we've got a good question here. I was making fun of it a little bit ago, but it is the truth. I mean, the game ended with Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire at the back still. How can Manchester United invest so much to end up with those two at the back? They're asking you from who is it? Oh, they didn't even put in the name there, Oggy, so they're ashamed to ask the question. But what do you think?
I think the name was Eric Ten Hag, wasn't it? They sent that question. No, I mean, listen, United are in a mess because of the financial situation. They spend a lot of money, but they do actually waste a lot of money as well. But the situation at the back is fairly simple. Obviously, Rafael Varane injured. Lisandro Martinez picked up an injury. But, I mean, the fact they've got Maguire and Evans at centre-half shows you that the lack of resources, because to all intents and purposes, Maguire should have left this summer. He knows he's not going to play in the first team every week. He knows he's not even third choice. So had Maguire gone, it may have enabled Ten Hag to bring in a better centre-half. But, Lindelof has been at the club now for a good, 6, 7 years and never really convinced. So they've got a lot of dead wood there, and it's hard to clear it out. And the fact they've not been able to get rid of Eric Bailly, Donny van der Beek, Harry Maguire shows you how limited these players are. So let's be honest, your defensive options are Varane and Martinez when fit. Now, Varane picks up a lot of injuries. Martinez is becoming susceptible to injury as well. So you've got two centre-halves who aren't particularly reliable fitness-wise. Then your backup are a guy that he doesn't trust in Maguire, a guy who got relegated with Leicester last year, it looked like his legs had gone. I mean, Johnny Evans has been a great pro, but he couldn't really do much at Leicester last season. And then Victor Lindelof, who is a centre-half who doesn't know how to head the ball. So that is a good start. And then you've got Eric Bailly, who, again, like Varane and Martinez, he's never fit or never reliable. So there aren't really many great options there. It looks to me like they've missed out on the opportunity to sign top defenders in the past, and they just had this collection of misfits, really. I mean, Steve will know better than me as a defender, but I don't think any of those defenders would give him confidence if he was playing alongside them, because all of them have their big flaws.
Yeah, Gareth Southgate seems to disagree, bringing him back to the squad. But that's for another video. Hey, James, Olley, let's talk about Arsenal for a second. The winners of today, 3-1. Even though it's a 3-1 victory, it did seem like it was going to be 1-0 for a bit. Obviously, it wasn't like all super easy for Arteta. There were a few issues. But did you see anywhere on the pitch from Arsenal's side that you think, yeah, the international break can maybe help them improve in certain areas?
Well, I think that the sort of pre-match questions about, Mikel Arteta slightly changing his approach this season. Are these new signings taking them to another level as many anticipated? I think those questions are probably still there after this game. I thought it was really interesting, actually, that they let United have quite a lot of the ball. United had more possession in the first half. I think it was about 55%. And Brighton came and did that here in May, and Brighton were fantastic that day. That was not an Arsenal-conscious decision. That was just a measure of how good Brighton were. But no team has done that for about 18 months, other than Brighton, has come here and had more of the ball in the first half of the Premier League game. And it felt a bit like a conscious decision from Arteta, because he was concerned, as Stevie says, about the one threat, really, which is Rashford in behind. And actually, if you look at the Garnacho goal, again, they get done, they lose the ball, they're high up the pitch, they get done quick turnover on transition. They seemed terrified of that, particularly in the first half, and it was quite passive from Arsenal. And I thought it was noticeable in the second half. They pushed up, they started taking more risks in possession, they started trying to get Zinchenko into those positions in midfield and try and overload, which has become the go-to tactic for a lot of these top sides now. Guardiola's led that initiative, and they started to take control of the game. And again, I think we're just seeing more of these kind of teething problems about, with Rice coming in, with Havertz again, he had a mixed bag of an afternoon, let's be honest. Once again, they're still just trying to work out the pieces of this puzzle. Now look, it's 4 games in, right? So, and they've taken 10 points out of 12. They can be pretty satisfied with where they are. But are they showing the kind of fluidity and consistency to suggest that they can go and last the distance with City and get 90, 95 points, which is probably what they're going to need to win the league? You'd have to say no at the moment. But what they are getting is results, and that will be the thing that will be encouraging Arteta the most. But yeah, I mean, there is a need for fluidity. I think the 2 weeks will be important for Jesus to get him right. He's obviously come back early from that knee injury. We thought maybe he'd be out until after the international break. He's played twice again. Still not entirely convinced about Eddie and Nketiah leading the line. Obviously, Leandro Trossard didn't work when he played there against Fulham. So I think that will be a notable bonus for them. But yeah, I think just another couple of weeks on the training ground working with the players that he's got, which won't be many, obviously, because a lot of them will be away on international duty. But I think they just need more time working on that fluidity and really trying to overwhelm teams as they did so often here. I just thought that switch and approach was quite interesting. A sign of caution from Arteta's side.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.